welcome to Ladies Talking Leafs Patio season. I'm Chris.
And I'm Syl.
Wow, yes, we're officially into summer now. It's Monday when we're recording this podcast, July the 4th. Happy 4th of July to our U.S. listeners and social media followers. And we're in full patio season mode. But when it comes to the NHL and the Leafs, it's just the start of a very busy off season. Before we get into the hockey talk, we want to get into, we want to thank a couple of our supporters.
Yes, so we want to give a shout out and a big thank you to Paul Baker and Marlene Prosser for supporting us and buying us a coffee.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Both Paul and both Paul and Marlene follow us on social media and they listen to the show. And we thank them for making a donation on our Ko-fi page. Every donation, as we said, is put towards producing a better show for you. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for listening and buying us that coffee.
Yeah, no, it's huge for us. And because we are a two-woman show. And yeah, for our listeners out there, please visit and follow our Ko-fi page if you haven't already. You can find us at Ko-fi/LTL 1917. It's KO-FI/LTL 1917. And check out our photo gallery there. We have pictures from the whole season, this past season, and from years past at Maple Leaf Gardens. We have some of our personal photos there. And if you can, buy us a coffee. So now we're going to move on to a bit of a sad note. We just want to take a minute to send our condolences to the family and friends of Jim Pappin, who passed away this past week. Jim Pappin scored the game-winning goal in the Leafs' 1967 Stanley Cup win, and he was named number 89 on the Leafs' top 100 for the team's centennial anniversary in 2016. So, not too many players left from 67. And it's important. We always, I'm sure a lot of our listeners know that we always like to, focus on the history of our great franchise too, and remember the great players of our team.
Mm-hmm. And it's been a tough year for the NHL that way. I've got to say, losing quite a few greats over this last little stretch. So, definitely condolences to the family of Jim Pappin. So before we get into the show, we also want to congratulate the Colorado Avalanche on winning the 2022 Stanley Cup. So good on the Avs for putting Tampa Bay to bed.
Yeah, we were, I was definitely happy you are too, I know, for Naz, basically, yes. For Kadri.
I am. I'm happy for the whole team. Yes. It was actually, it's funny. I was thinking to myself that we said after the Leafs got, bounced in the first round that we weren't going to watch, but, slowly but surely the hockey creeped back into my life. And of course I did watch the whole final.
Yeah.
It was great hockey to watch, but it did also make me kind of, even more disappointed in a way because I couldn't stop thinking about how incredible a Leafs Avs final would have been. But maybe we have to wait for next season for that one.
Yeah, but also on that, didn't you think it kind of made me a little bit concerned? I just thought when you looked at the injuries that those players on both teams played with, I don't know.
Yeah,
it just made me think, does our team have that kind of will or
I don't know. Think that if push came to shove and they got over that hump, that they would deal with it. And I do think that they already were dealing with it and we just don't know some of that background. But yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that if it came down to it, and especially if we totally got to play our game, which we would have against the Avs for sure, because they basically play like us. And I know that we had so many good results, like just watching highlights over the past few days, getting ready for this show. We had so many good results against the Avalanche this season, really good. No, those games were really good.
Yeah, no, they were. I don't know. I just think of Gabriel Landeskog and like Steven Stamkos, they're like blocking shots and I don't know. And
well,
just
we definitely need more of that.
Playing different roles too, sort of thing. Like they're not always in their same position. Let's just say some of the players and just, like, I don't know who had the mangled finger, I guess, Ryan McDonough, like playing with that. Like, I don't know if I see, like William Nylander playing with a mangled finger. I don't know. I don't know that I can see that in him, or I can see it in Mitch and in Auston Matthews. But like, even like, I don't know if I see John Tavares changing his game to block that shot sort of thing, right? When it comes to it, maybe it does because you have to go through, I guess it's because we haven't gotten past the first round, right?
You have to, because there, that's that.
Yeah.
And Colorado has had some pretty darn disappointing exits up until just before this year also.
Yeah.
So that's part of the learning. And I know you don't like to talk about
learning.
More learning needs to be done, but but that is some of the stuff that you need to go through.
Yeah.
I think. And until you actually get there, I don't really think even they know what they're made out of yet. To tell you the truth.
What did you think of Naz's, I guess, two things for Naz?
I knew you were going to bring this up.
The two.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yes, his comment, obviously, the first one saying that for everyone that thought he was a liability in the playoffs, you can kiss my ass.
I thought it was hilarious, but I think that, you could also beg the question is he the man that he is today? Is he the player that showed up this season without going through those things and without being called out that way?
Yeah.
You can't look at these things in a vacuum. Like, honestly.
And he's
so
being
good
used,
for him for being able to say it, but
that's his personality, obviously, coming out that way. That's the way he always is. He plays and has the chip on his shoulder and everything. But but I just think too, like, it's a totally different team and the way he's being used as well, sort of thing, as opposed to the times when he was with the Leafs and got the 3 suspensions.
Well,
I guess,
this
right?
is the thing, is that like anybody who is a Naz, supporter, you got to realize that if you really love the guy as much as you do, he's better off there than he would ever have been on our team. He would never have had the same opportunity here. Yeah. It's just wasn't a good fit anymore as soon as they signed JT. So,
and then what about
is what it is, but good for him.
Yeah, but what about I love the T-shirt. Don't you love that T-shirt? The Too Many Men T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
No, there was a lot of good stories, and it was a really fun series to watch, and I was happy for Tampa to go down.
Yeah. Yeah. But remind me later on when we talk about Auston Matthews about a T-shirt. I wanna tell you something that I forgot to tell you before. Anyhow. That's about Auston Matthews.
All right, so yeah. So we're going to get into, so basically we're getting into the show proper now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about. So of course we're going to open up with a little bit more Leaf talk since we're already kind of heading down that road. And we have a very special Patio season edition of the Ladies Talkin' Leafs highlight reel, where we're going to honor a very special player. And in our third period segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the women making strides in getting more prominent roles within the NHL. So without any further ado, let's talk Leafs.
Okay, so there's been a little bit of Leaf talk around, I guess, and updates we're leading into the NHL draft this coming Thursday and Friday, July 7th and 8th. And so far the Leafs, I think they had this in their back pocket, Kyle Dubas, because it was like the day after the final was over, the Stanley Cup final was over, and they announced that Timothy Liljegren has been signed to a 2-year contract extension. And they basically confirmed also that Ilya Mikheyev won't be a Leaf next season. So they did this by basically notifying teams that the rights to Mikheyev are available if a team wants to get in early to try and sign Ilya Mikheyev, which obviously most teams probably won't do it because unless they really love Ilya Mikheyev that much that they want to give up something rather than get him basically for free after on July 12th. So the Liljegren signing, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was a good deal. It's 2 years at 1.4 million per year, and he was really good with Giordano, and like we were saying in that first round, we were wondering why Justin Hall got in. I guess we didn't. I mean, there were a couple of mistakes because this was his first full season in the NHL, and obviously mistakes are going to happen. But I mean, I don't know. I was fine with him, and I'm fine with the contract. And I guess in his interview too, he said he needs to work on the physical part of the game a little bit, and but he felt comfortable as well. He said with Giordano, and he's looking forward to working with him and getting more. Getting more tips from him too, playing with the veteran defenseman. So yeah, but now everyone's saying basically it's Sandin, right? Rasmus Sandin is. They're kind of comparing. But were you okay with the signing of?
Yeah. No, I really thought that was great, and the fact that they locked him up, he got a bit of a raise. Yeah. That's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting that it, like you said, how quiet it has been, and of course the Mikheyev part. I don't think that's not a surprise to anybody.
Yeah.
That he's not coming back. So
yeah. Well, he's looking for. Well, now they're even saying it's like almost like a bidding war. It's like apparently like he's looking for more than 4 million per year.
Yeah.
And
do you think he really deserves that?
No, not based on the way we used him as a third line player, but there's a few teams.
I guess if you're a team that's kind of thin up front, then for sure
they're gonna and he
add something there.
Yeah, and he's always believed Mikheyev has he's, I don't know, we've heard it through the grapevine anyways, that he said that he believes he's like a top, maybe like the second line.
Top six
for sure, though. Kind of forward. Yeah. So if that's the case, then sure, sort of thing, right? I mean, it's kind of somebody was saying it's crazy on Twitter. Somebody said he played all 7 games in the playoffs and he got 2 empty netters. So that makes you a $5 million player or $4 million player. It's true. But then you look at Zach Hyman, and I mean, last year in the playoffs, Hyman got 1 or 2 goals, I think, sort of thing. And he also got an empty netter or something like that. But he did just fine with Edmonton this past season. So yeah.
But Zach Hyman, though, has a much longer NHL resume, though, than Mikheyev, though.
Yeah, that's true. He's got more experience. But I don't know. For me, it's more interesting to see this whole Rasmus Sandin thing, because I don't know. When you're reading stuff from the insiders like Darren Dreger from TSN or Elliot Friedman Sportsnet, it seems like I think it's because he's a left shot defenseman again. So he's with the way it's set up now with the blue line or going into next season, we have so much on the left side, but not enough on the right. So they're probably saying to Sandin, you're going to have to play to flip on your right side, which he has done apparently, but whether or not he's that comfortable doing that, I don't know, sort of thing. Cause, he played in 51 games this season. He hasn't really played a lot.
No.
On his entry level deal, he's only played 88 games on his entry level contract. So, I mean, it's not a lot to say that he deserves so much more than what Liljegren got. He definitely has he has more upside than Liljegren, but I don't know. But he's only played the 88 games, so he can talk to. He is an RFA, so he can talk to other teams as of July the 12th. So, I mean, if this doesn't,
well, and I guess that's a potential. I'm reading a lot about the potential for offer sheets because people know that, the Leafs have this cap crunch. So they know that there's going to be certain players that they're not going to be able to match on, or that they won't. So, hopefully it's not somebody like that, but there's potential for that out there too.
Yeah. And I really think like they have to move Justin Hall. I don't know. That's my only thing. Because then Hall.
Well, but the other person that could move to make room for Sandin is Muzzin potentially.
But he has that no trade clause, right? So
yeah,
I don't know if he'll waive it. Who knows?
He'll waive that
because he's every season after the playoffs, he seems to be a little bit frustrated with his comments, saying we definitely have more to give, or it's like sacrifices you need to make in the playoffs. Like it's like he thinks that we have it, but it just hasn't happened, sort of thing. And maybe I don't know if he still has his house in Los Angeles, because I've heard that rumor too, for him to be going back to LA possibly, to helping them with their young decor there. Yeah, but who knows?
Well, I kind of feel like in the next week or two, we're going to be probably getting answers to some of these questions. I mean, right now, like we're forced to speculate so much because there's just so much not coming out of, of Leafland. Yeah. So anyways, with the draft and then also a free agency coming up, which is July 13th.
Yeah.
You know, we're probably going to get a lot more news coming out in the next little bit. And because if Dubas is going to make any moves, this is the prime time for that to happen. Yeah. So speaking of free agency, in our last show with Mike Ogello, we talked a bit about some UFA possibilities. And this might be where Kyle Dubas is going to look for answers to fix the Leafs' never-ending questions in goal, or maybe look for a depth forward.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, the other... I guess topic du jour really is Campbell. Yeah. Is he coming back? Is he not coming back? And then what do we do in goal? That just seems to be the biggest question mark right now.
Yeah, this has just gone on too long for me now, and I've been reading too much. We've been texting back and forth with Syl so much about this. I'm like, I got to stop reading these reports because I really don't know what to think anymore now. Because I mean, I don't think Jack Campbell is worth like the $5 million right now, with as much as he's, I guess with what he's given us so far, with the amount of games that he's given us so far. I just don't think, and just his injury history. And I just don't think that he's played well at the beginning of the season, but not so much at the end. It's almost like a repeat of Freddie, sort of that way. But I just think like when you're looking at a team, like you either need that stud defenseman, that number one guy, which we don't have. I mean, we have Morgan Riley, but he's, let's just say, a 1A. He's not a true like Norris Trophy winner or Norris Trophy candidate. But you either need that Norris Trophy candidate, or you need like a Vezina candidate in goal. If your defense is very good, but you just don't have that Victor Hedman or Cale Makar defenseman, then you need somebody that is a really good goalie. And for me, I was thinking that would be John Gibson on Anaheim. But then I started hearing the reason what I was supposed to do was prove to Syl that it should be on this show. I was supposed to prove to Syl or sell her on the fact that John Gibson should be our goalie.
Because I'm not sold.
Yeah, because she's not sold. But then I heard that
I'm not sold at his dollar. Yeah. Let's just say that. No, that's to me, that's just so expensive.
It is. But
the only way is if they if Anaheim pays some of his salary.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
If they keep some cash, then fine. Then I could say that, that's reasonable, because there's a lot of, he hasn't had, the last 2 seasons weren't that great, but he's been really good before that. He's touted as the Olympic, goalie for the U.S. Olympic team.
And he's
only 28.
Yeah.
So,
and he's a proven number one.
Not in his current.
Last season, he played 56 games. And like, I think we need that, given that we really don't have anything in goal, because we don't have a backup goalie either, because I don't know. Peter Mrazek, I don't want him.
Well, they better be getting rid of that somehow. They better be trading him.
Yeah, but I have a feeling now that it actually, and I really don't want this to happen, but I have a feeling it might be Matt Murray. I'm hearing
oh no.
Yeah. And this is what bothers me.
I don't want that guy either.
This is what bothers me a little bit about Kyle Dubas and this Sault Ste. Marie connection and all this. But
there's also Sault connection with Robin Leonard.
Yeah, which Mike Gagello in the last show was talking about, but I don't know about that either. But I really don't know about Matt Murray. But apparently, like I've been hearing, like the Sens might buy him out, which would
make him cheaper,
right? Obviously, and that maybe by doing that, like Justin Hall may go to the Senators, I guess, like as a thank you for that sort of thing. And the only thing I guess is like Matt Murray, ever since I guess his dad passed away 2 or 3 years ago, and apparently he's never been the same. Like since that, it really affected him. And so I heard too, like how the Leafs have the that special that coach Greg Harden, I think is his name, that he might be able to work with him when it comes to that, the mental aspect of the game. And maybe, but again, it's almost like it's a reclamation project again. And again, if you don't have a defense, like a solid Norris Trophy
that
winning,
can weather that,
you need
somebody that can weather that.
Yeah. Or you don't have the goalie, like we need one stud in one of those positions. Right. So that's why I'm thinking I would prefer to have Gibson, who's a proven number one. And I mean, he'd obviously be playing behind a better team than what Anaheim's a young team getting better. But if he was here, he'd have a more veteran group in front of him that, but yeah, so it's just frustrating, I guess, because I don't know, like Dubas is, like he's really stuck with this core. And I know that because of the pandemic, we're kind of like, none of us expected it. And like he expected the salary cap to be going up all the time and it hasn't, but I don't know if he's done enough to try and adapt, like, and to like move on to whether it be trading, I don't know if it's William Nylander or if it's somebody else. I don't know.
I will never ever be for trading Willie. I mean, I'm sorry. There's no way. There's no way, because even with Willie, what you see with what you get, Dr. Nylander and Mr. Willie, you're getting 30 goals. And just like I was watching plays, he's an amazing player, and you're never going to get full value for what you're going to be missing with him. Never.
Yeah. I
would rather go down with him than get whatever scrap some team is going to throw at me for him.
They're going to,
at least until we get to the point where, we're going to lose him for nothing. If it was in his final year of his deal, then maybe I'm thinking differently, but not this year. Not for me.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to do that anyways. And I don't know. They're just
and he shouldn't.
Like he's already basically said that him and Shanahan are they're basically going down with this group the way it is built. And but they also need not just the goaltending, which everyone's going on about. They also need a good fourth line, right?
Yes,
and
they do,
because they really don't have a fourth line any longer, really, or they really didn't have one. They had a makeshift one all the time with parts going in and out. And Jason Spezza obviously is retired. I don't know what they're going to do with Simmons and. I mean, Engvall played sometimes on the wing, but really he's not a fourth liner. He's like a third liner. Colin Blackwell came in, but I don't think they're going to re-sign him. So with free agency, I expect them to hopefully try and get
remake that.
Yeah, like to give more parts to Sheldon Keefe to actually build a fourth line, because you saw how important in the Stanley Cup final that fourth line is.
For sure. And I honestly think that free agency is the best way for Dubas to build that, because I do wonder when it comes down to the trade deadline, I really feel like GMs or certain GMs don't want to deal with Toronto or expect more coming back to them if they're dealing with Toronto.
Oh, for sure.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, I know.
Because I know we were in the Nick Paul sweepstakes, for example, and look what Tampa managed to get them for. I know that they asked for more from the Leafs for that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really feel like he doesn't get a fair shake when it comes to making those deals at the deadline for players like that. So
yeah, a couple of I guess names that I heard for, let's just say that might be like, I don't know if he's actually a fourth line contender, but Max Domi, I've heard his name coming up. Mm-hmm. Not to say that I'd actually want him here. But
yeah, no, I'm kind of iffy there too.
Yeah, but
although we'd probably see Ty come out of the woodwork if that was the case.
Yeah, all of a sudden I
bet he'll be giving a few of those jerseys out to the vets when they come in.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And wearing the alumni jacket proudly.
Yeah, I don't know, Max Domi, I don't think he'd fit in to the group the way it is now.
No, I don't think so either.
And Miles Wood is another one that's his name has come up from, I believe he was with New Jersey, I think. I'll have to look it up, but that's another name like for a fourth liner. But I don't know.
Well, I think too that this is probably where we're going to see hopefully some progression from the Marlies as well.
Yeah.
You know, some of those guys are maybe going to fight for those spots as well. That's where, you know, Tampa got some of their you know, those players through their development also.
Yeah. Miles Wood was with New Jersey. And but yeah, like you're saying, like we were talking in our last show, that Bobby McMahon. And there was with one other player that you were talking about. Oh, Alex Steves as well, down on the Marlies. So yeah, we're hoping at least a couple of those, and of course Nick Robertson, for coming maybe onto even the second line, I guess, because we need a replacement, obviously, for Mikheyev, right? So
right,
all right. Well, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's concerning, but there's no news, so we might as well just keep on waiting, and hopefully by the end of this week with the draft and some answers will come from Kyle Dubas and company there. But there is something actually to feel good about, which was a lot of fun doing this part of it. Moving on to this, that for Leaf fans that we can feel good about is Auston Matthews winning the Hart Trophy as league MVP. And yes, and the Ted Lindsay Award, the award, which is given out for the most outstanding player and is voted on by the players. And of course, he also won the Rocket Richard Trophy for scoring the most goals in the league, 60 goals this season. And that it was just a phenomenal year for AM34. I mean, I don't know. What did you think? You saw the show, or parts of the show?
Yeah, I watched it.
I don't know. I just didn't think there was enough fanfare or like for.
No, I know. It was
like low key.
I don't know. It was a weird vibe.
Yeah.
It was a weird vibe.
Yeah.
But anyways, they tried. I feel bad for Keenan because he was trying to, you know, it's just even the crowd that was there, they were just it was very low key, like you said.
Yeah.
But
and I don't know.
Austin looked fit and tan though.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like he's been on the golf course a lot. He's like so tan.
Oh yeah, no, he was looking very relaxed and everything. I think it's just so dumb the way they keep going on about his choice of attire. I'm just like, you know what? Yeah. The guy's like 24 years old.
Yeah. Let him wear what he wants to wear.
He looked perfectly fine, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, it was just funny though. And he showed his personality definitely in the interview afterwards when the media was asking that, and good on him to just say, like, basically he wore whatever they told him he was allowed to wear. That's what he wore. So, but yeah, no, he had a tremendous year. And, I just think the Leafs too could have maybe done a little bit more hype, but I don't understand. Maybe because of the whole.
Yeah, I agree with it. You know why? I think it's because
the playoff thing. Like,
I know that Gary Bettman doesn't like it when teams take attention away from the Stanley Cup.
Oh, that's true too.
I really think that is why there was like very little fanfare and there was not much response from the Leafs on that because of the fact that is during the playoffs, because I know that Bettman really doesn't like that when they take attention away from the Stanley Cup and the Stanley Cup final.
Because I mean, it's unbelievable. It's been 67 years since Maple Leaf has won the Hart Trophy. So it's like, I know. How do you not?
Well,
I don't know. How do you not?
Let's hope that when we're probably going to celebrate it at the start of the next season. That's probably what they'll do, and they should make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, no, they should. I mean, it's like to have a player like this on our team, like it's phenomenal, like what he's accomplished so far, and only at 24.
No, I know, and I honestly don't think Leafs Nation really celebrates it enough.
No, I don't either.
Know. I think that they deserve so much more hype and response and celebration from the fans. Even, I mean, he's appreciative of the fans. He's said so many times.
Yes, yeah.
But I think that he deserves even more. And honestly, if they wait to do it at the beginning of the season and we're lucky enough to be in the building on that night when they do it, I actually can't wait for that, because it's going to feel great to be able to celebrate him.
Oh, yeah.
In person.
Yeah. And this is what I was saying earlier when we were talking about the t-shirts, I guess, and Naz's t-shirts, because I don't know, like you remember, obviously back in the day at the Gardens, like with Doug Gilmour and Wendell Clark, like anytime they did anything that was like record setting, like there was always a t-shirt like made for, and we have so many of them still. Like we
have basically a wardrobe made out of that stuff.
Yeah. And it's the other night I was looking on, I don't know, I just pulled up Auston Matthews. I Googled Auston Matthews 60 goals, and I'm like, and I found for the first time on Fanatics, I think it was. Yes, fanatics.com. They had a 60 goal t-shirt of Auston Matthews.
Oh, right on.
But you know how much it is? It's like $57. I'm like, oh my God.
For a t-shirt.
I'm like,
wow.
For a t-shirt. I mean, why? Like it's 60. Was it $1 per goal?
Pretty much. I'm surprised they didn't make it 60 based on that.
But I thought
maybe they made it 57 so that you felt like you were getting a deal.
I don't know.
Because it wasn't 60.
I couldn't believe that it was that much money, because I thought to myself, oh, that's kind of cool. It's the first time I saw I was excited because it's the first time I saw some sort of like Leaf garb or whatever to buy to do with his 60 goals, right? And whereas we used to see it all the time when Dougie got the most points.
Remember the 93 and 93?
Yeah, all that, right? Like it was immediately in the stores. You could always find something, and we have it all in our wardrobe. Like
you know what, Chris? Yeah. You know what that means? We need to make our own then.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But speaking of all this greatness of Auston Matthews, it's the perfect segue to our very first Patio season edition of the Ladies Talking Leafs highlight reel. We've picked our top 3 Auston Matthews career highlight reel moments. Let's roll it.
All right. So coming in at number 3, this game came in the next gen game on December 23rd, 2019 versus the Carolina Hurricanes in an up and down game where the Leafs gave up a 3-0 lead and were down 5-3. The floodgates were opened in our favor in the third when AM34 gained the zone. Knowing he had Mitch coming down on the wing with a head of speed, Matthews makes a ridiculous spinorama pass to Marner for a one-timer. And incidentally, this beautiful pass also helped Mitch end a 10-game goalless drought at the time. Yeah. I don't think that Auston gets enough pub for his playmaking abilities. And this is one play that was an incredible play to help a teammate get a goal. And like I couldn't watch it enough. Is incredible goal.
Yeah, that was,
and that really they ended up winning that game. And Mitch had a hell of a game that night also. So
yeah, that was it was pretty awesome. I looked at the final score of that game because I remember that was just I believe that was the first next gen game that they ever had.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I remember. And it was a very fun night.
Yeah. And so next gen games are for the kids mostly, just so that in case some of our listeners might not know that, but it's for the next generation of fans, young fans. And yeah, to have the final score as 8-6, a lot of goals is obviously going to attract the fans. That's what we want to see and have fun. But that spinorama move that he did, and it was like tape to tape pass too.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was unbelievable. So yeah, that's a good choice for our number 3. So let's go on to number 2. And that was a historic night just recently, actually, a couple of months ago, April 7th, 2022 versus the Dallas Stars. We're actually going to lump together goal number 55, which breaks Rick Vai's record, and goal number 656 to put the icing on the cake to actually break the record. So number 55 was a bullet, an AM34 special, a one-timer from right in his wheelhouse to break a record that has stood for 40 years, which is unbelievable. And if that wasn't enough, he also scores the overtime winner, taking the puck on a drop from Nylander, blows it past everybody, gets Dallas's goalie Wedgwood to commit with a power move to his forehand, scores for the win, and goal number 56. And the celly, of course, on that one we've talked about before was also spectacular. But I just thought there wasn't enough. Again, I just thought there wasn't enough hype by the organization when he broke Rick Vai's record. It was a huge moment. I thought they should have given a bit more credit to Rick Vai too, or
definitely
or involved him a little bit more during that time. But I think it's because I remember back in the day when Rick Vai set the record, scoring the 50 goals, I guess, hitting the 50 goal mark. He like the city that's all there was. It was a different time. It was the 80s, but
yeah, that's true.
Right. So, but I compared it to that, and I just thought that they could have done a little bit more. And but it's a record that Auston Matthews broke that was held for about 40 years, and it was truly unbelievable. Those 2 goals. It's too bad he didn't do it at home, right? But
yeah, that would have been nice.
It would have been nice, but yeah, that's definitely deserving of spot number 2.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And like we said, the celebration, I just think that's kind of becoming one of his signature moves.
Yeah. Going across with his arms open across the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a big hug for everyone. Yeah. All right. So our number 1 Auston Matthews highlight. So while there have been many amazing Auston Matthews highlights in the past 6 seasons, and I might add, it was extremely difficult to narrow these plays down. It was so hard to do. The one that has to top them all came on opening night on October 12th, 2016 versus the Ottawa Senators. While the Leafs would go on to lose that game, unfortunately for us fans, I kind of feel like it was a foreshadowing of the spectacle that would come, that we would come to expect game in and game out. The goals just seemed to pour in that night, one after another from every angle, and he even dangled Erik Karlsson, leaving him looking like a fool. In the end, he would pot 4 goals that night, making him the first player in the modern era to accomplish that feat. It was a very special opening night for an incredibly special player.
Yeah. I watched that highlight reel moment of that goal, and it was unbelievable how he took the puck around 2 other players. The first player was Hoffman. I think the other Sens player was Nick Paul, I think. I'm not positive on that, but then the move he made on Karlsson he was just taking his time there along the boards, and by the time you knew it, the puck was gone, and Matthews was gone with it. So yeah, it was just an unbelievable moment for that. And I remember too the whole thing, how the league was all like other players around the league, like Patrick Kane, who Auston Matthews looked up to a lot. How like they were looking at the game, I guess from Chicago. They were watching it because he was setting that record.
It was the only game on that night. So the whole world, the whole NHL world was focused on this one game. Yeah. So and I just loved how they kept showing his parents too, in the his mom in particular. It was just crazy.
Yeah. No, it was just insane. And then I believe it was Craig Anderson who asked Matthews at the time too. He got him to sign the stick after the game.
Yeah.
So you rarely would see a goaltender, I think, that got scored on 4 times like that. and where it's a historical, basically, moment that way but that was kind of cool. I thought too. It was kind of fun. But yeah, those are our 3 highlight reel moments. And like you said, there's so many from his career, and it's in it.
Oh, and I mean, I think the best is still yet to come, if you can believe that. So
yeah, he's only 24.
Yeah, I think that we're so special. We're so lucky to have this player on our team and get to watch him every night. So
yeah, that's for sure.
So continuing on with the theme of great accomplishments, for our 3rd period, we're going to talk about and highlight women who are finally getting promoted to NHL jobs in management and development roles.
Yeah. So last time we spoke about women in the game on our show was way back in May of 2020. And I have to say, there's been quite a bit of development when it comes to women being hired by NHL teams and the league as a whole. Ever since Hayley Wickenheiser got hired by the Leafs back in 2018, it seems that it opened the eyes of other organizations to see that women are more than qualified and can offer a different perspective on the game.
Yeah, so some of our listeners probably know that there's a few women who are well known in the hockey world. They have been hired recently by NHL teams. So, for example, Cami Granato, who was formerly with the Seattle Kraken as a scout, but has now been hired along with Emily Castonguay by the Vancouver Canucks as assistant GMs. And we're going to talk about a few more women who might not be as well known around the hockey world, but are making strides for women, having landed some prominent roles within the NHL.
Yeah, so the first woman we're going to highlight here is Aisha Visram, who's the head athletic trainer for the LA Kings AHL affiliate Ontario Reign. And on January 13, 2022, she actually got called up to be a trainer for the LA Kings game versus the Pittsburgh Penguins because they had a COVID issue at the time. So, she got called up and was behind the bench of the LA Kings as an assistant trainer, which was unbelievable. I guess she wasn't actually the first woman athletic trainer to be called up as behind the bench of an NHL team. But that went to Jody Van Rees, which was behind the Montreal Canadiens bench in 2002. But what I couldn't believe is that's 20 years. 20 years that it took to get another woman to get behind the bench for a woman to get behind the bench. But and she said she's kind of right, saying how it's kind of disappointing how much attention her getting this opportunity to work behind the bench, because it's like you would hope it wouldn't just be because she's a woman. So she just said that it's clearly been too long, obviously. And that's totally agreeable. But it's great for, I think, for young girls and women in the game or trying to get into the game, to see that if this girl can do it or woman can do it, like they can do it too. So there's some, it's helping aspirations basically of girls and women who are trying to get into the hockey jobs, whether it be in the NHL. But she worked to get there too, right? She was, she's from Toronto.
100%.
Yeah, she's from Toronto, she's from our hometown here. And she worked her way up the ranks just like anybody else. So she was a athletic trainer for NCAA athletes. And then she went to the ECHL and now the AHL. And hopefully one day she'll move into the NHL on a full-time basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's why it's important, definitely, that we give these women props, because the more everybody talks about them, the next thing you know, it won't be as big news as it is now. Yeah. So it'll just be another great hire by a smart NHL team.
Yeah. And with her too, her parents are from Africa originally. So, just some backstory that I read on her. So when they came to Canada, they wanted to, I guess, get in with the culture. And so they decided to start watching hockey. And basically that's how she became a fan. And it really, I guess, the way she said, representation matters too. Like seeing somebody who looks like you doing something you want to do it helps you believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what Aisha Visram said in one of the articles. So good on her. And we hope to see her behind an NHL bench on a full-time basis soon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And it would be very deserving. So another woman that just recently made history by being hired as the first full-time video coach for the Washington Capitals is Emily Engel-Natzke. And she is the first woman to hold this full-time position on an NHL coaching staff. So that's actually very, very huge. And it just goes to show you that there's more and more women, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, that are interested in the details of the game in the same way that, boys growing up or men would be also. And you can't even discount that, like just because, with video game play, for example, people playing NHL on EA Sports, there's just as many girls playing that as boys.
No,
so
sure.
From that springs this interest in a lot of ways as well. And so basically, this is a very recent hire by the Washington Capitals. And so she is going to be taking over that position.
Yeah.
She says that she never really looked at herself through this lens of, whether being a woman or whatever, and she wouldn't have wanted it to be that big a deal. But, she thinks that it's very much an honor, and she's happy that she's the first, and hopes that this opens the door for other people who want to get into this job and this profession as well.
Yeah. And Emily is 31 years old. And again, she worked her way up through the ranks, just like everybody else, started in 2013. And the last 2 years she spent it with the AHL Hershey Bears. So, she credited Tony Granato, who helped to push her towards this goal of reaching the NHL while she was a video coach at the University of Wisconsin, where she was the video coach for both men's and women's hockey. So it's great to see in these. There's so many different roles in the NHL.
Now more than ever, really,
that are available or could be opening up, and it should be available to anyone, basically, as long as you're qualified. And these two women have both definitely shown the qualifications and done the hard work to deserve where they are. And there was the interesting stat. Again, we were just I guess before we came on the air here with women in the NHL. The NHL did some research recently, and apparently 37% of hockey fans are now female, which is a 26% growth in the demographic since 2016. And of course, we're part of that, right? And we've been, me and Syl have been long time been a part of it. But, and it's something, I guess, to, like, because of that growing demographic of the female hockey fan, and just females in general trying to work their way into careers in hockey. The NHL really has to, they've been trying to promote the game and do different things to promote the game to the female fan or the female demographic. And it's something that we should be proud of, that they're actually recognizing this finally. And
definitely long overdue.
For sure.
Long overdue.
Yeah. So it's just great to see the growth of women in important roles throughout the NHL. But of course, there's still plenty of work to do. That's for sure. And the Leafs also have plenty of work to do. And Kyle Dubas, and it starts this week at the draft. I'm hearing now that the Leafs are probably going to keep their pick at number 25, whereas before we thought they might move down or try and maybe move up, or whatever, but now I'm hearing they're going to keep their pick. So, and it's funny though, because it's been 7 seasons since the Leafs have picked a Canadian player at the draft, which is quite interesting as well.
That is interesting.
7 seasons. So I don't know if it's going to change this season, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, I'm hearing different picks, like different predictions all across the board. Yeah. So like we said, this is a very, very deep draft. So honestly, I don't really think anybody really knows.
Yeah.
Even the top pick might not go to who it should go to. So there's a lot of speculation. So we'll see. So, and of course, after the draft is free agency, which opens on July 13th. And hopefully the Leafs goaltending question will be at least a little bit more clear after that. And of course, if there's any really big news in the next few weeks, we will be on it with a bonus episode during our patio season.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you can keep up to date on the Leafs by following us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Our handle is at LTL1917. And a reminder to be sure to leave us a rating or review and let us know what you think of our show. It's easy on Apple and Spotify, and it's important for our show to get exposure as a source for Leaf content. And we thank you for taking the time.
And also be sure to check out our website, ladiestalkingleafs.com. You can find out more about us and our show there. And we also have a blog section with book reviews related to the Leafs. And right now we have reviews on books featuring Wendell Clark and Rick Vive. So if you're looking for some summer reading material, you can check that out.
And as always, before we go, we want to thank our healthcare workers and first responders for everything that they do.
And we'll be talking to you again in August. So for now,
go Leafs, go.